So we are vested as coaches, as consultants, so forth. We are vested in the individual, and that level of investment that we place into them, we want to see them grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the biggest...
You talking about the individual, or you talking about the actual money in itself?
I'm talking about the individual.
Okay.
But we know that in this world, you need money to do things.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Right? I like to call it dollars and destiny.
Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight by AudateMedia. In this interview show, you will learn how to succeed through other people's stories, challenges that they overcame, and how they are winning in this new economy. You'll learn what to do in your business, what not to do in your business, and how others are succeeding. Tune in every week to discover new stories, new businesses, and new ideas.
From a coaching standpoint, helping individuals to take that leap of faith, many times it takes for them to go from where they dream of being to where they actually could be, is one thing, right? And we talk about brand awareness, as you talk about, and all of these things. But we also have to talk about financial literacy and understanding that there's an awareness that they need to have about not only them, but their generations.
What's the biggest gap with, when we talk about financial literacy, what's the biggest gap with understanding finances? Is it on the accumulation of finances? Is it on what to do once you have the finances? Or is it on focusing on expenses? Is it focusing on income? Like, what's the biggest misunderstanding or misconception?
I think the greatest thing that people miss it at is not identifying their purpose with the money. Think about it. We got stimulus checks going around right now, and they giving these checks out. But what are people doing with the money? So
this is a good take, because I'm writing an article for Forbes about what to do with the $1,400, and I'm giving five key points on what to do with the $1,400. I'm about to sneeze. Oh man, I'm about to sneeze. So once. You being in the financial education space, what should some people do? Like, hey, they got the $1,400. Like, should they go buy sneakers? Should they go buy food? Should they get an insurance policy? Should they get a new car? Like what should they invest it into the business? Like, what should someone do with the $1,400 once they get it?
I think once this individual, let's just say individual A, right? Once individual A gets that $1,400, one of the first things they should do is tithe. Right, because I include my faith in everything that I do.
So tithe is given 10%.
It's 10%, and then after they tithe, they need to make sure that they have a level of investment in themselves.
Oh, let me ask you about this about tithing from a business standpoint.
Sure.
Right, you got revenue. So when you look at your profit and loss, you got revenue. You have, and then under revenue is going to be expenses.
Correct.
And then you have net income.
Yeah.
So do you tithe on the revenue, 10% on the revenue, or do you tithe on the 10% of the net income? Or you also have owner's pay, right? If you run an LLC or such, you have owner's pay, where a portion of that net income for the business goes to the owner. So do you tithe on the revenue, the business's net income, or the owner's pay?
Well, when you're talking about a micropreneur, meaning an individual who is just starting out, and maybe it's just them, and no one else, right? You probably want to start with the net. And the reason I say that is because God wants you to be a good steward over your business. And your business is a reflection of God to many people. And so it's not so much the amount that you're paying out or returning to God. It's the fact that He wants you to be a good steward over that business. And once the business revenue has come in, you have to take care of those expenses, right? Operating expenses, fixed costs, so forth. You got to take care of that. And after that, then you pay your tithe on that.
So you pay your tithe on the business's net income?
Correct.
Okay, and then now are you tithing for like separate? Like, hey, I'm gonna tithe for me personally, and then I'm gonna tithe for the business. Is that what you're doing? Or?
As you. I mean,
is there like a rule to
The thing is, you want to tithe on all legal income, any income that you get.
Okay.
You got to tithe. You got to give 10% back to God. It's not so much ritualistic. It's more so relationship.
Yeah.
Right. But it is a law now, the law of tithing. And so when we talk about the law of tithing, understand that Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? Mm-hmm. And God said, you can eat of any of these trees, the fruit of these trees in the garden, but don't touch that one. That one belongs, basically, that one belongs to me. Uh-huh. And so that really keeps us grounded in understanding our source is God. Yeah. And so when we give back, it's showing our thanksgiving to God. It's showing the fact that, hey, wait a minute, God is my source. These clients are not necessarily my source. If you work in a job, boss is not your source. God is my source. And so it always keeps you grounded and reminded that God is my source.
I like that. I like that. I can see, like, you know, now that you bring that up, I mean, it's been a long time since I heard that, right? Since I've, but I recall, like, you know, certain elements in my business career where I would just get on my first business was a cash business, right? So we had a register, and I remember just at the end of some of those days, some of those nights, I would take the money from the cash register. I mean, it's my money, right? So I take the money from the cash register, and my mom is big Catholic, right? Big Catholic. I mean, had me in Catholic church. I was the altar boy, the whole 9 yards, right?
Right.
And but once I got older, I got away from that world. Okay. But I came back as a patricianer, patron.
Oh, you're talking about a
I'm just there.
I'm
just an audience, whatever you call it. And I would take that
parishioner.
money. Parishioner.
Parishioner, right.
I would take that money, man, and I didn't know how much it was. I didn't know. I mean, the computer knew, but I just took whatever was in the register and I just dumped it into the bucket. And I said, "Look, man,
really?"
I just dumped it into the bucket, and I was probably the biggest donator at that time.
Oh my goodness!
But I don't think it was accidental of what happened subsequently as the business grew.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, the results that I did at that young age, man, this is phenomenal, and I don't think that was any.
You know, it was a connection.
There was a connection because I would just dump it into the bucket, and there was some bad weeks, man. There was some tough weeks. Whatever was in there, just dump it.
Yeah.
And I remember sometimes, you know, earlier on, I was nervous to pay payroll. You know, like I don't know if I could pay payroll.
And see, that's why I said you want to tithe off the net.
Okay.
Because it
messes you up.
Well, it messes you up, but you want to make certain that you can stay in business, right? Then you want to make sure that, like you said, somebody's depending on you.
Yeah.
You don't want to, give all the money, as what's the word? Recklessly.
Yeah.
And not have enough to cover your payroll.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, what kind of God you serving and you ain't paying your people right?
Right. That makes
so
sense.
You want to make sure it's off of the net.
Yeah, I was just asking, to not only for myself, but for my audience too.
Absolutely.
For my audience too, like, is there a process? Because, I mean, as a business owner, and this is typically for business owners, as a business owner, I'm looking at multiple ways to look at money. You got the revenue, you got the net income. Yeah. So do we give 10%? So what you're saying is to give 10%, not on the owner's pay, not on the revenue, but on the business net income.
On the net of the business, if it is run as an LLC and the taxes pass directly through.
To you? Okay,
right?
yeah.
Then you have the S Corp, right? The taxes pass directly through. You can pay off the net. However, if you got like a C corporation and some more sophisticated business model, then you have your own salary, and then you have the company's salary. Then you pay off your salary.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now I know there's probably going to be a lot of, clash to this, because like, how could LLC run it this way? But that is how it's structured.
Well, yeah, that's just the classification that the IRS came up with. All of these numbers and codes, and it's just a classification that the IRS has set up in order to maintain checks and balances within the government.
Yeah. So the 1,400, go back to the 1,400. So we got the 1,400, 140 goes to tithe.
Right.
And then now we got, what happens next?
You need to invest.
Wait, I got to ask you about this tithe thing. I just feel left. I want to ask you more about this tithe thing. Like how can you, I'm thinking of a mom, who's like hurting right now and in a situation, like watching these kids, watching their kids, and that's sometimes who my audience is, right? You have single mothers that are looking to grow a business and create. Yeah. So how can someone get 1,400, like struggling on Tuesday, like, oh, I'm gonna lose my home, like I'm struggling, and then Wednesday get a deposit of 1,400, and then consciously say I'm gonna give $140. Like how do you overcome that?
That's
that
why it's
challenge?
based on faith. I'm gonna share a personal example with you. In 2000, I believe this was 8 or 9. I had left my job. I was working at a law firm for 10 years. After that, I knew it was more to my life than just working, behind a cubicle at a desk. So I stepped out. I was doing real estate at the time. I had a limited liability designer t-shirt company. I had just closed a office deal, a retail deal for $14,000. I say I'm out. So I left. Some months went by. Everything dried up. As far as me making money, it was around the time of the downturn, right? The economic downturn. And so what happened is I started substitute teaching. I started parking cars. I was doing whatever it took to keep the money coming in.
Yeah.
And what happened is it was a service. It was a Thanksgiving service, as a matter of fact. And my pastor, we had what they call the hour of power. And so what I did, I had $100 that I had to my name. That was it. But I believed God that if I were to sow this last $100, that he would provide work for me. I did that, Andy. I lie to you not. And if you watch me, somebody on here may know me. Right after that, not even a week later, somebody came to me with an opportunity for work. And it was right in the retail space of apparel. And I took that, and I lie to you, I've been eating off that since 2008-9. Into, my coaching and now my finance. So all of these things happen by faith.
Yeah.
It's not just, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's not just a ritual or a religious act.
Yeah.
It's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's like gratitude. It's like, man, God, you blessed me with all of this. I want to give this back to you. And it's also a covenant.
What's a covenant?
Covenant. God made a covenant with Abraham. Imagine, remember back in the Indian and cowboy days, where they would make a blood pact or a blood covenant, where they would cut their wrists and they would cut their wrists and they would shake hands on and all that. So whenever I need help, you got to come through. And whenever you need help, I got to come through.
Wow.
And so we in covenant with God. That tithe, it bonds that covenant. It reinforces that covenant. So that whenever I need something, whether it be money, whether it be health, whether it be relationships, network, resources, whatever it is, that connects me.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's by faith.
By faith.
It's not by, I'm going to do this and this going to happen. No, it's by faith,
I can relate with you so much on that scenario. I didn't even think about the scenario in all these years. And when I made money in the cell phone industry, and then I made so much money I didn't know what to do with it. I just lived lavishly, and I didn't have any income coming in for maybe 18 months. I didn't have any income coming in, but I still lived in high rises in LA and so forth, cars, flights, and there was a time where I'm living now the California life, but I didn't have any income, and I had $90 left in my name at that time, probably maybe 150, but whatever. It was like $90 of cash. Yeah, a small amount. And I had in my car, and I put just enough gas, and I went to church. And I completely forgot about that scenario all these years until now, where I took $90 out of the 150 or whatever I had, and I just dumped it into this. Somebody invited me back to church. I haven't been to church. My head got big when I had money. My head got big. So someone invited me back to church, and I was like, I used to do that, but I don't really do that no more. But I went, and I was struggling, thinking I can control everything on my own. I put the $90 into the wall. I didn't want to see anyone in the bucket. I just put it into the wall, and I just left. I just dipped. And then now, like you're coming into the office. I have so many staff members. A whole business now. And
you've grown since last August when I was here.
Yeah, like I just completely like forgot about that scenario.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that you brought that back.
Let me share something with you, Andy. It's a scripture in Matthew. It says that when you pray in secret, and God will reward you openly. When you fast in secret, and God will reward you openly. And when you give in secret, not letting the right hand know what the left hand is doing, and God will reward you openly. So many times some people, they want to get accolades for what they do, right? And what I did, nobody knew. The pastor didn't know I was doing it. right?
Like your circumstance?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I believe that in my covenant with God, when I sow this seed of $100, that God's going to come through for me. He's bound to his word. He has to. Same thing, when you put that in the wall, nobody know that, but look at you now.
I never even talked about it till today.
But it's by faith.
Yeah.
It's not by religion or how many times, okay, I went to church this week, check out, well, now I watched the church online. You know, it's not about, it's all about relationship. Think about, you know, me and my wife or you and your lady. There is a certain level of relationship that supersedes just opening the door for her or taking her out to dinner. Yeah. Come on, that's surface.
Yeah.
There's a love there that you almost do anything for her, right? Yeah. I'll do anything for my wife, for our daughter, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with God. Let it be always about relationship. And even in business, the people that you're serving, it's like, okay, I can see, like me, with helping people with understanding gifting and developing that gift and creating business from that or converting your knowledge into an asset. I can see God's gift in that person, and I want to help them to develop it. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, there's something called the law of exchange where there has to be value given for value. Right? You cannot give and not receive. Mm-hmm. So it's almost criminal for somebody to want to take your service or your offering in the market and not pay you for it.
Right.
It's like that violates the law.
So you know? So that mindset in faith also applies to business of the law of exchange. Yeah. So now the 140 goes. The 140 goes.
140 goes.
And then so what happens to the remaining? What is that? 13? What is that? 1290? Yeah. So
60.
Yeah, 1260.
Yeah.
What happens to that now? What happens to that 1260?
So they need to find out, what am I good at? And this is what coaching comes in at. It's not a plug for coaching, but it's the truth. You need or an advisor, somebody who can be your coach, like a boxer. Mm-hmm. The boxer coach sees the flaws of the boxer in the ring. He can say, well, you need to get inside. You need to stay inside with that jab and keep that jab in his face, right? Mm-hmm. You keep coming out, and that's why he's connecting. Same thing. You have a gift. You are very analytical, right? You are very detailed oriented, right? You love to do hair. You're very good. You're very artsy, right? You're very comical. When you begin to identify what that gift is, now you need to begin to pour into that gift. Now you need to begin to see, okay, I'm good at this. How can I take this and create a product first before we even get to business? Product development. Then once you got a good product and you've proven concept on it, people like it, people buy it, right? Service, whatever it is. Now you can begin to create a business around that.
Gotcha.
And from that business, now you need to get some level of awareness about what you do.
But tactically, like, so where do I put the money in? So I understand like the principle, but tactically, now I got $1,260, mm-hmm. and I'm a mother, I got kids, or I'm a father, I got kids, or I want to start a business, or I have a business. So in that scenario, financially, I tithe. I listen to Osazee. I tithe. I got $1,260. Do I just put in my savings account? Do I invest it somewhere?
Well, it depends on your circumstance. You know, if you're behind on rent, you need to take care of that.
Take care of that.
If you need to get bills paid, to keep the lights on and so forth, you need to take care of that, right? But let's just say, all things being said, that maybe you caught up on your rent, maybe all utilities are caught up. Go get some food for your family. Practically, go get some food for your household, right? Maybe you take out of that $1,260, maybe you take $200, right? Maybe you good at baking, just using an example. Take that $200 and let that be your startup capital and go get you some baking items. Maybe you bake cookies, maybe you bake a cake. And start there with friends and family and say, hey, y'all, you know I'm good at baking. I make these red velvet cakes, or I make these, sweet potato pies or whatever. I want you to buy a pie. Okay. And so you can take that $200 and make $400.
Yeah.
Then you take 200 of that, and you put it up in another account. Maybe you don't have enough, you don't have banking information to get another bank account. Yeah. So you take that 200 and you do the same thing and you repeat it. Yeah. Now you take that other 200 that you made as profit and you put it up with the other 200. Now you got $400 up for profit, but you want to take that 200 principal amount, that 200 principal that you started with, then you go out and you do it again. You just keep duplicating.
Okay.
Right? And
so even something that small, of a mom or who's good at baking, they got $1,400, they tithe, they got $1,260. Out of the $1,260, man, stock up on your home, make sure to get your essentials right.
Take care of your house first.
Take care of your house. Then once you complete that, then use a portion of that. It could be $200, it could be $150, it could be $400, and buy your basic needs. Don't make a cake. Don't eat the cake.
Right. Sell the cake.
And then sell the cake, and then keep flipping that until that 200 becomes 2,000. That 2,000 becomes 20.
Then you get really creative and you say, hey, we're having a dinner party for this person, or we're having a birthday party for this person. Then you get you some little flyers and just let people know your services of baking. And you can bake a cake for their birthday party, bar mitzvah, maybe not bar mitzvah, birthday party, whatever. And you begin to grow that way. Then you can break it up even more, and you can take the cake. I don't want to get down into too many numbers right now. If it take you, $7 to make the cake, maybe you can slice it into 10 slices and sell each slice for $1.50, right? Mm-hmm. So you just double, So there's ways to multiply your money and take that $1,400 that you made and grow it.
So the first step, number one, is tithe. That's the first step. And the second step is to get your essentials. Your basic level
take care of your house.
Of life security. So get your essentials. Then the third step is invest into the tools that you need for a new project.
That's it.
And then the last step is purchase the materials, so that cake, the flour and such. And then the sixth step is to sell that product and keep flipping your money.
Awareness. Families, friends, let them know what you're doing.
Wow. Yep. Wow. Something so simple. Dude, I appreciate you coming on here.
Man, I appreciate it. Yeah.
What else do you have for us? I know you're really big on the turning employees into entrepreneurs.
Yes.
That's your big thing. And that's your passion, right?
Yes.
Now, in the first place, why is that even important? Because I have employees, man. Come on, dog.
I think that but some people, they don't see themselves as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Some people are happy, they're content with serving in someone else's vision. And that's good. Because we all need each other. Nobody's an island to themselves.
Yeah.
And so if they feel great serving in their capacity in another vision, I think that's noble and that they should continue to do that. But I'm talking about individuals who inside of them, they know that, wait a minute, I think it's more like me.
Yeah.
Right? I am my customer.
Yeah.
Right? You are your customer.
Yeah.
I knew that it was more to my life than working at that law firm.
Yeah.
For another 10 years.
And
so I just began to see, hey, I'm interested in real estate. I started selling real estate. Hey, I like fashion. Hey, I started doing a limited liability designer t-shirt company. Hey, I'm a people person. I like people. I like to see people thrive. And when I got my certification for that, right? And so whatever it is that's in your heart to do, you do that. Now, I'm not telling you to quit your job without having a plan or without having some idea or vision of what this new entrepreneurial life is going to be like for you, because then you're gonna hurt yourself, right? So what happens is you want to begin to see yourself doing it, and then every day take steps toward that vision until you see it manifest in your life.
Appreciate you being on the show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me out.
So what you've learned so far is just that. Number one, create a process. If you got a little bit of money coming in, there's no excuse. Create a process that will allow you to prosper. Right? The first step, we got to tithe. Now the second step is you take care of your bare necessities, your essentials. Make sure your house is paid off. You got food in the fridge and so forth. And you got a little bit of water, man. Hopefully you got water. And for me, if you're like me, chapstick. And then after that, use that money to build your tool set. Get the tools that you need. Then the fourth step is going to be getting the materials. Then you gotta not consume what you created, sell what you created. And then flip your money over and over again, building an empire. Thank you so much for being on the show, Osazee.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
The Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight by AudateMedia. In this interview show, you will learn how to succeed through other people's stories, challenges that they overcame, and how they are winning in this new economy. You'll learn what to do in your business, what not to do in your business, and how others are succeeding. Tune in every week to discover new stories, new businesses, and new ideas.